Joining me now is Hal Kempfer, a retired Marine intelligence officer with 24 years of experience. He served as a senior intelligence officer with extensive experience in civil military operations and threat assessment. Thank you so much for taking the time. Big picture, first of all, how likely right now is an attack on a U.S. city, a site? What would it look like? A terrorist attack, lone wolf, cyber attack? What should we be thinking?
Jesse, I'm actually surprised we haven't had a terrorist attack like that. I mean, drones are so ubiquitous. They're everywhere. You can buy them. They're easy to get. First-person view drones are easy to get, and we are vulnerable. You know, one of the problems you have over urban areas, and this goes back years when we're looking at, major things like sports venues, concert venues, things where you have a lot of people out there. One of the problems we have is what we sometimes refer to as the Chicken Little syndrome, which is if you take down that drone, it's going to land somewhere and you have a liability problem. If the drone's up there, it might be a threat, it might not be a threat. We're going to have to change the way we think about drones and the threat they pose, because at some point there's a trade-off. With that said, you look at what the Ukrainians are doing with interceptor drones, you look at some of the things being done with directed energy. The tools are out there, but they're just not employed and they're just not available everywhere.
You say everywhere. Do you mean we might have countermeasures in major cities, but not other areas?
We might have countermeasures some places. Now, I don't have to tell you, on the border, they're doing some things. In fact, in El Paso, they just did something which didn't look very well coordinated, but they did something. They're using technology to take down drones. On the borders, we're using them. We're looking at various other places, but the reality is, in any major city, there's lots of drones up at any given time that are just simply not being tracked. So I'm not going to say we have a lot of great capabilities. We have some capabilities, but there's just not enough to deal with this. It's what's really a fast-growing threat.
So if you were in a position to make a change tomorrow, and I'm not saying everything would change tomorrow, what would be the solutions? Whereas we don't live in a fortress, I mean, what would be ways to prepare in every place we can think of?
I hate to say this, it's going to take money, all right? When you're talking about counter-drone systems, you have to have a massive investment to go in there, but also you have to do some policy things. Things have to be done with the Federal Communications, FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. Things have to be done with the FAA. We've got to change some of the rules about how we deal with drones and how we deal with counter-drone, and then we're going to have to set some policies, some rules of the road, use of force doctrine, if you will, in terms of how we engage with these drones and when we make decisions. It's got to be clear to those who are on the ground, who are controlling the counter-drone capabilities, what they can do and when they can do it. And if we wait till a drone poses an absolute clear threat, that'll probably be too late.
Just taking a step back to the initial point, aside from drones, what else are you concerned about right now? I mean, are you concerned about a lone wolf? Are you concerned about a cyber attack? Are you concerned about I don't know what the word is, even a generalized terrorist attack, and where would be the most vulnerable areas right now? Again, this is a very sensitive time right after the operation in Iran.
I'm concerned about all those things. Obviously, cyber is a big concern, but we have Cyber Command, we have a lot of other resources, and we haven't been hit with cyber. I think they're probably trying, but they just haven't hit us yet. I'll tell you what concerns me, though. Hezbollah and Iranian operatives have been operating in the U.S. for a very long time. If you talk to the FBI, if you talk to DHS, yes, we know they're here. We don't know where they all are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be free to do stuff. But we do know they've been operating here. They've been building up target folders for decades, waiting for that day when they go operational. Well, I would say right now that looks pretty much like that day. And I'm afraid that we're going to see more things, maybe something like Austin. But I'm afraid we're going to see more things. I'm afraid we're going to see more things that are much more sophisticated. They're going to go after critical infrastructure. And when they do go after targets, it's going to be much better thought out and unfortunately much more deadly than what we saw with Austin or some of these smaller attacks.
It's such an interesting situation because after the death of the Supreme Leader, you are seeing this outpouring of support for the American administration for what happened. And like Robert Sherman reported before, people on the ground who are eager for a change. At the same time, it is so difficult to predict how people respond and whether or not there could be a lone wolf situation.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.